The point is the law is the law. There are small landlords that lose their livelihood because they have tenants who refuse paying their rent. The same principle as the large landlords resorting to the excuse of pandemic or other issues for not paying the rent. So why should the large landlords be somewhat different or any different than the small landlords? A landlord is a landlord, business is business, rent is rent. Everybody has to pay it or get out.
But how about a lot of people, they are suffering, they were suffering from the pandemic. They can't afford it. So they are going to be displaced from this part. Maybe they live there, they have been living there for 40 years. But how about that, those persons?
Well, first of all, life is not fair. Simple as that. So you have to accept it as a fact. Life is not fair. Government was helping these people for more than a year, providing subsidies, providing extra money. So you have to handle your finances the proper way. Unemployment in this country is less than 6%. So basically anyone can get a rent. When I lived in USSR, for example, well, if you can't pay it, we lived in communal apartments. Well, we handle it. Several families share the same kitchen, share the same toilet. Well, that was the life that I lived back in the country that I came from originally. I'm not advocating that this should be a norm in this country, but when bad times happen, well, you just live through them until you pull yourself by the bootstraps and you're back in business, living normal life.
A public health crisis where it's really important that people need to quarantine, and say, like, if they're sick, you can't be living in a communal space. You don't want to be on the street either when it's a pandemic. But isn't it important for people to have a safe place to protect themselves, to stay isolated? So if you can't pay rent because you say you lose your job because you have COVID, or your job shuts down.
You get another job.
No, but you can't pay because all the jobs are shut down, and maybe you're sick, maybe you're immunocompromised,
Yeah. Well,
so I'm just saying, like, what should you do is if people need a place to stay because they need to quarantine, but their landlord is like, I need to evict you.
Well, it's not.
Well, then what should happen in that situation?
First of all, to start with, in any business dispute, you negotiate. You do not demand. You must let me stay. You must give me another month or 2 or 3 or 4 to stay.
But if the choice is, I could either be out on the street, being sick, getting other people sick, or I could be in this house that you don't need to live in because you're a landlord. You don't need to live in the house that I rent.
Wait. This is a totally wrong premise. This is absolutely wrong premise. What do you mean you don't need to live in? This is your income. This is how you get the money from. This is your business. How about I say, oh, you know what? You're wearing an extra jacket. You don't need it. Give it to me. I want to have your jacket. What do you need a jacket if it's warm?
Because I guess the difference is like, we should give jackets to folks. But I'm saying more like if it's a public health crisis and everyone needs a place to quarantine, right?
There's no such a thing.
Let me finish.
Sure.
If everyone needs a place to quarantine,
okay.
The landlord has their own house that they live in, or otherwise this is the extra house or extra number of buildings.
This is their business. Let me continue.
Sure. If it's we're not talking about business, we're talking about housing. We're talking about housing that people need for a public health crisis. In this,
what do you call it?
I'm saying if it comes to I could be on the street dying and getting other people sick and they're dying, or I could be in this apartment and my landlord makes a little bit less money. Don't you think that people not dying is more important than the landlord's income?
First of all, it's kind of wrong juxtaposition. It's not
but
like
that's what's happening.
No, of course it's not what's happening.
That's exactly what's happening.
That's not exactly what's happening.
Well, yeah, that's why people have been evicted and people are going on the street and people are getting sick and dying.
Do you know anyone who died in the streets? I mean, literally died in the streets.
I know people who had to go into a shelter and they got sick.
Okay.
I know people who had to go work.
Wait, they
didn't
die.
Forced to work and they died. No, they died.
From what? From COVID?
From COVID.
But it's a completely different thing. Of course, we have how many people? We had forgot the number. I think 2 million. No, not 2 million. How many people?
They were forced to work. To pay because they had to pay their rent because the landlord said you pay your rent or I'm going to kick you out.
So what are you suggesting? What does the landlord do?
I think in this, I feel like we've had a lot of situations where, you know, the government, businesses have prioritized businesses making money over people's lives.
So are you against profit or against the
I
businesses
am.
making money?
Yes.
So you're against profit.
When it comes to when it comes to life or death, I don't think that someone's profit should be more important than someone's life.
But again, this is not the dichotomy that we're having. It's
No,
not
but
like people
that's
are.
exactly the situation
Of course
we're
not. I mean, of
No, it
course
is. I
not.
can tell you about people who
Oh,
put
you're
this situation.
exaggerating.
I'm not.
We don't
I
have a
exact-
situation like that.
I have meet people in line.
And what happened? What
They
happened to this?
died.
They died in the streets?
No, they died because they were forced to work.
They
were
died
forced-
because they're forced to
They were
work.
forced
They
to
were
work.
overworked. They died
So they
from
caught
working.
COVID. They were home attendants.
Okay.
They worked in patient. They said, please do not send me out there. I cannot go to work because it's a COVID. You're not protecting me. The home care agencies weren't giving them PPE.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't giving them anything. They were giving them like tissue paper, basically.
What does that have to do with businesses
Let me
then?
explain. Let me. And they said, because they make these women work 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
24 hours a day. Think about that. They go to work. They don't get to leave for 24 hours. Sometimes they have to work several shifts in a row. So they don't get to see their kids for a week. They don't get to see their loved ones. And then they come home and they're just exhausted. They need to recuperate
So
and they have to go back to work.
So if they go.
Let me finish.
Okay.
So this because, and they get paid slave wages.
Slave wages.
And-
Seriously. What is a slave wage?
They get paid 13 hours. 13 hours for 24 hours of work. So that's 11 hours in which they don't get paid for any of the work that they're doing.
Well, then maybe
And
they're
they
not
have to work
working 24
no,
hours. Maybe they were
work 24
sleeping.
hours.
Well,
They work 24 hours. Hey, you don't know the situation I do. They work 24 hours.
Okay.
And there's one woman, just about Barrios. She was forced to work. She was immunocompromised because of the toll that working years of 24-hour shifts, years of working those shifts, it destroyed her health.
Okay.
And she's like, I cannot, please do not, she told her agency, please do not make me work. I cannot go out to work. I need to live. I need to pay rent. I need to feed my kids. I need to take care of myself. But I cannot work, I cannot work during this pandemic. And they said, we don't care. You either work or you lose your job, and we're not completely. You either go do more 24 shifts in a COVID pandemic, or you don't come back. Don't come back to us. So she went out and she had to work her 24-hour shifts, and she caught COVID and she died. She died. She was an organizer with us. She died, and that's a situation where these companies, these home care agencies, they put their own profit. They were like, we're not going to give you any PPE. They put their own profit, and they were like, we could do split shifts. We could get someone else to cover for you. They didn't want to do any of that. They wanted to squeeze these women for all that they had, and then these women died. And that's a situation where they put their profit in front of their own.
But why did we get COVID in the first place? Did you ever stop and think about it?
Yes, yeah.
And where did it come from?
COVID happens because people are moving into more rural areas so that people can
Look at the argument.
So why do we even have it? Why do we even have it in the first place? I mean,
why is that relevant to this question I'm asking?
well,
Why
because
does it matter where we live?
because you're trying to get to the root cause of any issue. You have to get to the root cause, not the consequences.
We have tornadoes. We have sickness. We have illnesses.
Yeah, but this
we
is.
might have root cause. I understand we need to deal with the root causes, but I'm saying right now we have the situation, and I'm trying to get back to this initial point of should we put profit over people's lives? That's what our original discussion was about.
Well, we were talking about. It's not related to landlords at all. I mean, she was working. She was getting paid.
Yeah. Why do you think she had to go out working?
Okay, look, we're talking about. Wait.
She had to buy food.
Okay, so now let me speak. Okay. Now you brought up two issues. One is her working, getting paid. When she gets paid, she gets money to pay her rent. So this part is covered, okay? Now the second issue is she died. She died because of China virus.
Oh my God! All right.
So why did we?
Why is China virus?
Where did it come from? What do you think? What's the origin of the virus? What do you think?
Why you are say something like China virus, Chinese virus?
Because
so
that's.
ridiculous.
So isn't it China virus? It didn't come from
It's
China.
not China virus.
Where
You
did?
don't have any proof to prove it's China virus.
So it is.
If you cut it
Wait.
that, I don't have any word with you. You are discriminate.
So it did not come from China.
I'm from
Yes or no?
China or not. It's
No,
not the biggest
virus.
problem.
Wait, did virus come from China? Yes or no?
No.
It did not come. Where do you think it came from?
Okay, so here maybe you think it's from China, but in China
I know
we
it's from
don't-
China.
No,
I
you
know
don't
it's from
have
China.
The proof.
Really?
Yeah, you know.
Okay.